Let's be real, when a claim gets denied, it can feel like you've just hit a brick wall. But what if I told you it's not a wall, it's actually a puzzle? And every single denial code is a clue. In this explainer, we're basically handing you the decoder ring. We're going to break down some of the most common denial codes, so you can stop guessing and start getting claims paid.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the easy wins, those simple clerical mistakes. Then we'll level up a bit and look at claims that need more justification. After that, we'll untangle the sometimes confusing web of payer and patient policies, and we'll wrap it all up with a really powerful checklist to help you stop denials before they even happen. Sound good? Let's dive in. So, what's the big secret behind all these codes anyway? Well, it's actually simpler than you might think. They are direct messages from the payer telling you exactly what needs to be fixed. They're not just rejections. Think of them as instructions. And once you learn to read them, you can get your claims paid a whole lot faster.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Crocking, Clerical, and Code Errors. This is what I like to call the low-hanging fruit. These are the denials that are caused by simple mistakes that honestly can be fixed in just a few minutes, once you know what you're looking for.
It might sound almost too basic, but you'd be surprised how many denials come down to a simple typo or just a field that was left blank. These are by far the most preventable denials out there. Tackling these is an easy win that can seriously improve your clean claim rate. And it all just starts with a little extra attention to detail.
Okay, let's break some of these down. 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗿𝗵𝗁𝗂, that's the payer just saying, hey, you forgot the type of service code. The fix? You just provide it. Simple. For 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗿𝗵𝗁, it's all about the side of the body. You just have to make sure you're using the right indicator. L for left, R for right, or B for bilateral. And with 15.2 and 155, that's all about the drug details. Your national drug code, prescription number, and the quantity all need to be perfect. Each one of these codes points you to a specific box on your claim form, so they're usually pretty easy to track down and fix.
Now here's one where the difference is subtle but absolutely crucial. You've got 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗿𝗵𝗁 and 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗵𝗫𝗺. They both flag an invalid diagnosis code, but one is for the principal diagnosis and the other is for the secondary one. What this means for you is that you have to verify all the diagnosis codes on the claim, not just the main one. A mistake in either spot can get the whole thing denied. And to finish up our tour of clerical errors, we've got 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏 and 199. 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏 is super straightforward. It's just asking for missing surgery details. 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏 is a little broader. It's flagging an invalid secondary diagnosis code somewhere in fields 2 through 9. So that's your cue to go review that entire section of the claim form with a fine-tooth comb. But what happens when the problem isn't a simple error, but a need for more information? That brings us to Section 2, Justifying your claim's details. This is where things get a little more interesting. We're talking about denials where the payer isn't just asking for a correction, they're asking for proof. With these kinds of denials, the payer is basically asking, so why was this service necessary? Or can you prove that these two diagnoses are actually related? This is where your clinical documentation becomes your absolute best friend. It's your chance to give them the context and the story that proves the claim is totally valid. Take a 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏96 denial, for example. That's when the payer doesn't accept the secondary diagnosis as being related to the primary one. But don't worry, there's a clear 3-step playbook for this. First, you go back to the source, the patient's chart. Second, you gather all the notes, test results, anything that shows the connection and the medical necessity. And third, you resubmit with all that great supporting documentation. See? You're not just fixing a typo here, you're building a case. And here's another one that just needs a bit more detail, 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏97. This basically means your revenue code, which identifies a specific item or service, is just too vague. This happens a lot with things like durable medical equipment. The payer needs to know, was this item purchased or was it rented? The fix is easy. Just use the right code. 291 for a purchase and 292 for a rental. Okay, let's move on to our third section, navigating payer and patient policies. Here, we're shifting gears a little bit, moving beyond the clinical and coding details and into the world of contracts, coverage periods, and who's financially responsible for what. This table covers a lot of ground. You've got 𝗖cie_H𝗺𝗏95, which is a coordination issue between payers. Then there's the classic 𝗖cie_200 denial for a lapse in coverage. For that one, you just have to confirm the coverage dates and bill the right party. And then you have 𝗖cie_201 and 202, which both shift the responsibility over to the patient. This could be because of a special set-aside agreement or a non-covered service like a personal comfort item. In these situations, clear communication with the patient is absolutely key to make sure there are no surprises down the road. And that brings us to our final and I think most important section, your denial prevention checklist. So far, we've talked all about how to fix denials. But now, let's focus on how to stop them from ever happening to begin with. It's time to shift from being reactive to being proactive. Think of this as your new cheat sheet for keeping denials away. It really all boils down to a few key habits. First, verify everything. Diagnosis codes, service codes, drug details, coverage dates, all of it. Second, be proactive. Document the patient's responsibility right from the start and have your supporting documentation ready to go just in case. Building these simple checks into your everyday workflow can completely transform your billing process and slash your denial rate. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Looking at everything we've just covered, from the simple typos to the complex policy issues, what is the one single change your team could make that would have the biggest impact? Is it doing a pre-submission scrub? Maybe a more thorough coverage check? Find that one thing